Round 1 fight, intro 2 of this episode. Yes, we restarted already. I'm Ty.
Harlan.
Michael.
Alright, good. And this time we cut Harlan off successfully. No! Cut Harlan off successfully.
Yeah, restart.
I'm not restarting again.
Please.
No, we're just going.
I have something to do.
No, we're going. We're talking about character action games this time. And we're trying to be more organized. So, no more rolling for the intro.
Emphasis on try.
Yeah, trying. No more rolling for the intro. And also, we have a bit of a game plan this time. Look at us. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, we're going to be talking about character action games. So, let's start by explaining character action games to
Harlan.
97% of our audience, because I think about maybe 2 people total have ever heard of this besides us.
No, and Harlan.
Yeah,
no,
Harlan apparently.
No.
You know,
Argue.
No.
We'll get to that in a bit. We're gonna get the definition.
Also, you
out of
should
the way
mention
first.
the definition.
I'm
People
going to.
still don't know what the difference is
Yes,
truly.
that is true. No, people don't, and that's why we're going to be arguing about
Kind
some
of like
of these.
playing Warhammer. Nobody truly knows what they're doing.
I'm convinced no one does. So,
I'm just throwing dice and hopefully someone believes me.
my guy rolled a 6, so my guys deal double damage, and I get to attack again. No, you don't. Yes, I do.
Yes, I
Where's
do.
the book?
I don't
What
know.
book?
Throws book across room.
So, a character action game is a subgenre of action games. Go figure. And they're defined by having having a super cool and flashy protagonist with over-the-top gameplay and a high emphasis on melee combat that is usually a bit more difficult than most other games, as a lot of them like to try to do fighting game inputs and various other technical things. What are you doing?
So, I'm pulling up more notes
Okay.
for my topics, and I'm just looking up.
Do you want to?
Batman Warhammer.
It says on Google, is Doom considered a Christian game?
Is Doom considered a Christian game?
The game where I delve into hell and
I mean-
shoot demons' heads off.
You know,
I mean,
kind
of Christian.
All right. So now that we've gotten the definition out of the way, let's start talking about some character action games. The term itself originated from Devil May Cry. That was the first character action game to come into existence, and I think what was it, 2001? Thanks for the help, guys.
No problem.
You have your notes on Devil May Cry.
I have to Google it.
I got God of War, Bayonetta, plus Dante's Inferno.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you could have just said anything to fill the gap.
I'm reading Tyranids.
Yes, I know. You're not helping with this podcast at all.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, 2001, I was right.
I'll grant you partly. I'll only grant a little later this will come up. Doom Eternal is more designed to be character action than its
Well, I
predecessors.
assumed you were talking about Doom Eternal, and I'm still going to tell you it's not a character action game. It's a first-person shooter. Those aren't character action
It's a gray
games.
The
line.
fact he's still trying to say it's a character action
It's not a
game
gray line.
is-
You're
For me, it is.
that.
Your entire definition of a character action game
Okay,
for you is
alright.
it has a character
Alright.
and it has action. That's your
No,
entire
they have to
definition.
be cool.
Okay, you know what? You know
my
what?
bad.
You know, it is.
They can't be lame.
It is to you. All right. Therefore, Mario Party is a Souls-like to me.
Yeah,
exactly.
sure.
Look at how dumb
I'll
that
take it.
was. No, you won't.
You have to prevent me from trying to kill you as you're winning.
You don't murder your opponent in Mario Party.
Says you!
Man, Sonic's my favorite character action game.
Go fuck yourself.
That's the only game
There
where I'm
is
going to
one.
whip out a gat
They
and just
literally
so
have a
roll
Sonic-
another 6, bitch!
They literally have a Sonic character action game. I don't want to hear it.
Anyway,
What do you think the Werehog was?
fucking werehog.
I'm not wrong.
I unironically liked that game.
No, it's a good game.
It is. Just doesn't hold up the time well.
Yeah, it could have been better.
And
It needs
control-
you know what
It controls shit a little bit too in
You know
some
what it
stages.
could use? It could use a re-release, and we got a Sonic Colors re-release that's just ass instead. That re-release has so many
Yeah.
bugs.
We need a lot of re-releases. Anyway, Devil May Cry.
Yeah,
The
let's
start
talk.
of the show.
So yeah, Devil May Cry is where these originated from, and if anyone doesn't know the story of how Devil May Cry came to be, originally you might like this, Harlan. Devil May Cry was originally going to be Resident Evil 4. They were making Resident Evil 4, and instead they were like, let's use a new protagonist. They designed this new protagonist with silver hair and a red coat, and they made him super suave and cool, and then they're like, let's give him a sword, and then it devolved so much into melee combat. They're like, this isn't Resident Evil anymore. We like this. We're not gonna scrap it, but this isn't Resident Evil anymore.
I'm just confused how you got from one end to another. Because I played Devil May Cry 1.
Yeah, well, basically what happened was they were set out to make Resident Evil 4.
And then they made it too much into Melee.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of those moves are just...
Yeah.
Out, like, they just don't make sense.
Right.
And so how the designers started making Resident Evil... And then after fleshing out most of the melee combat, just go, you know what?
This is too far from Resident Evil now, so...
It's kind of like if you put us in the middle with like a big bin of just Warhammer bits and just go, use your imagination. That's what they did.
No, in my mind, it's like I told you guys, make Mozart while drunk for an hour, and I came back, and I just come back, what the fuck is this? This isn't Mozart. No, it's something else.
plays Metallica. That's like what happened. We had basic, very simple, fixed camera angle horror that was turning into third person horror, and then somehow we got what is essentially the heavy metal video games.
Yeah, I'm just like I understand a lot of it went through reskin, just like
that's the sad part. It didn't go through a lot of reskin. Like they designed it, and then
I meant from zombies to demons.
Oh no, that was part of it. That was like they were like we were designing this, and we designed this guy. We gave him a sword. He was doing cool shit with the sword, and we're like, he's gonna fight demons instead of zombies. And then they're like, someone at one point sat there and went, "Have we gone too far for Resident Evil?" And then someone else went, "Yes."
Yeah, because
we're gonna keep this though and not make it Resident Evil.
I'm glad they did it because Dante's Inferno. Devil May Cry is a really good game. I'm glad it had its offshoot.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just confused what the fuck they were smoking at that time to think it was a good idea to go demons at some point in Resident Evil.
So imagine.
Because I'm glad they remade Resident Evil 4 because both of those being... Those writers made really great games independently.
So imagine though, there's a timeline.
Sorry in advance, by the way. It's allergy season here and I'm congested to all shit.
So... Imagine though, there's a timeline where Resident Evil 4 came out with a new protagonist, and that protagonist is Dante, and he's cracking wise as he's doing dumb shit.
To be
with
fair,
his sword.
He's not that much different from Leon.
He's pretty different from Leon.
I mean,
yeah, he is.
When you break it down, but when if you just put them in the room together with a bunch of other people, they would be categorized together pretty quickly.
I mean, kind of.
Like, they're within the same phylum of people.
Well, yes, they're both human males. So.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Dante, not so much.
Dante, not so much.
He's half human, it counts.
No, I mean, they're both smart-talking assholes. Just Dante talks more.
Well, I wouldn't say Leon's an asshole is the thing.
He's like practical.
He's like B-movie action hero who's trying to put in one-liners, where Dante is basically just a dick to everyone.
I mean, in my opinion, everyone who tries to put in a one-liner everywhere is an asshole.
You're gonna upset and offend a lot of people with that one.
Go ahead. I drive with assholes every day trying to get to this goddamn house.
Oh fuck. Well, let's talk about Devil May Cry, I guess, instead of actually just saying where it came from.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
What is this game about, Daddy Ty?
Young lad, for eons, demons have problem. Devil hunter man go kill demon in island.
Dad, I'm...
Resolves.
I've been upset ever since that stroke hit you. You can't make full sentences.
Shut up, ye bastard.
Resolve.
And you talk like you're in the 1800s.
Fuck you. How's that for modern art?
Sure.
Nice, I won this round. Alright, so,
you may have won, but you hit just a nice dead space of air.
I'm looking up stuff, so I'm pulling up how many Devil May Cry games there's been.
A few. I think it's at least under... No, because we're at 6. It's at least
game?
under 10.
You want, okay, so it's 5. Plus...
I thought there was a 6.
It's 5, and then if you want to count, they tried to do a reboot at one point when they completely changed up Dante and Virgil and, like, everything, and it sucked.
Didn't work.
Is it still a Devil May Cry game?
Yeah, it's just a bad reboot. You've probably seen the
Yeah.
guy they used for Dante. He had short black hair and this like big gray coat.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah. It's still so there's technically 6, 5 in the main line and the reboot.
Every family has that one child they just don't want to talk about.
Yeah,
that's this one.
Well, Devil May Cry has multiple of those because they also have Devil May Cry 2 for that same reason.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's Devil May Cry, then there's Devil May Cry 2, 3. I'm not counting the re-release, the 3 special.
You know, I'm not counting any re-releases. I'm talking about
There
base
was
game.
2 mobile games.
Was there?
Yeah, we're gonna ignore those. There was then 4. Then I'm not counting the HD collection, which included 1, 2, and 3 on the PS3.
I'm not either.
Then the remake DMC. Then 4 special. Then a re-release of the HD collection on PS4. Then 5.
Oh, you know what?
Then 5 special.
I'm not going to mention when they come out, but I have more
And then that's-
add-on games, which may be on your list that you mentioned.
There's 3 phone games, so ignoring those.
Well, anything you put that's cool into a phone game immediately becomes less cool.
Yeah.
There's few exceptions to that rule.
So yeah, we don't.
What?
I don't really have to.
I would argue the 7 Deadly Sins phone game. It's
No.
not half bad, but it's not good.
No.
But they also don't have a good video game to begin with. So
Yeah, no, they don't.
Like, the only argument you might have had was Injustice, and it's because you play Injustice on the phone. But even then, it's still not good.
No.
I don't think playing fighting
Because
games on
I
the
think-
phone is good. And we play fighting games.
I could give you Skullgirls because they have a different form of stuff, but it's not as good.
It's still.
It's
I just
reprogrammed Skullgirls fighting game. This isn't fighting game episode.
Yeah,
though.
no, we could do a whole episode on mobile fighting games.
Or just mobile games in general.
Let's not
Flappy
torture
Bird
ourselves.
Superior.
Nope, you can leave now. We're ending the
you.
podcast. All right. Yeah, we don't. There's not too much to really say about Devil May Cry aside from I do find it weird that Devil May Cry seems to just come in odd numbers.
I mean, yeah.
Do you get that or no?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Do you get that? Okay, thank you.
No, he's looking at his NIDS book.
We're trying to be more professional here, and here you are over here drinking beer and trying to.
Now we gotta
Look,
restart the episode.
Our
No, I don't
goal
care. It's
was
11.
to make a good game plan and be better with this,
Yes.
not be professional.
It's
Exactly.
11:30 in the morning.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
That's not a valid answer. You're an alcoholic.
I'll also say I'm not drinking.
Yes,
That's just
you're
Michael.
okay. Michael's
Yeah.
the alcoholic.
I was getting ready for my curse.
I learned my lesson from my dad.
Ouch. All right. So let's move. We'll move on to some more interesting stuff we can talk about because there's Devil May Cry is just
Devil May
it's
Cry's
good, and it's just kind of the standard character action game experience. And besides being like really, really good,
what's
we don't
Devil
have
May
too
Cry
much to like
about?
say.
I think we went over everything but that.
Main guy Dante
Yes.
founds a business called Devil May Cry. That's where the name comes from. Where he's a professional demon hunter, and you could pay him to go kill demons. So in the first game, there's a big portal that summons demons to this island. I don't remember the name of the island. And he basically just is like, yeah, I gotta go stop that, and close this demon portal. Where he learns a bit more about his past, some demons, and gets some new moves.
There you go.
And then eventually Devil May Cry 3 would introduce his brother Virgil, which I believe that was his first appearance. I know he's playable in 3.
Isn't that his half brother or is it real brother?
They're full.
Oh, okay, they're full
They
brothers.
hate each other. They feud all the time.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. I hate my brother.
And Virgil is essentially trying to ruin the world with demon. And Dante basically goes stop him, and then gets into a.
You also missed major parts of the story.
Well, yeah, I'm
They
trying
can
to
play the
briefly
game.
summarize it. What major part of the story did I miss?
The fact that their father himself.
Well, I don't want to give that one away because that's spoilers.
That's a spoiler. We're trying to go spoiler free.
Yeah. So in Devil May Cry 4, we get a. I'm not going to talk
Well,
too
he
much
just
about it.
announced Virgil, so it's kind
That's not a
Virgil's
spoiler.
not a spoiler. That's
He's in
cuts
the
of the game.
opening cutscene of Devil May Cry 3.
The point is, we're not going to spoil some stuff for you unless
No,
we
you're gonna figure
feel
it out
that we
yourself.
should.
So Devil May Cry 4
No,
introduces.
Ty doesn't give a shit about that.
Well, yeah, but
He's
I am
still-
going to for
point
this
is, you should go play these games yourself if
I
you
agree.
like action games. They're really great games.
Devil May Cry 3 introduces Nero as our new main character. Did I say 3? I meant to say 4. Devil May Cry 4 introduces Nero as our new main character. And then Devil May Cry 5 was one of the hugest games in the year it came out, which was, I think, 19. 2019 had Devil May Cry 5, which was one of the largest games of its year that come out, which introduced a new character, V. Dinte and Nero are back. And
You say Dinte, I just remember the bad horror movie.
And it's basically, it was basically just a huge, big action game. And if anyone is curious about the story of the reboot, DMC Devil May Cry, 1, don't be interested in the story. 2, it's trying to essentially mash Devil May Cry 1, 2, and 3 into one story. So, for instance, Virgil's introduced early on. They ditch Trish and Lady for a new girl that I don't remember her name unless she is supposed to be Trish or Lady.
I don't remember.
And then it shares some plot lines with 1. They try to make Virgil like the hero until he's not. It's weird.
I had part of my mint go down the wrong pipe.
So what do we want to talk about next then? Because realistically, there isn't
the next
anything
biggest
to
one would
state
be
about
God of
it.
War, but I have one statement. The Devil May Cry.
You say God of War?
I mean, we could talk about the other Devil May Cry stuff because they've had several books, manga, and anime.
But Devil May Cry 5 had
You mean
best game mode ever.
I just thought.
You mean the anime that people really don't like?
Yeah, that anime. I believe there was 2 anime though.
Is there 2? I only know of the one.
2007, and there was another one in 2018. It says here.
But they have in which these
announced in
guys
2018. 21 seems to be when it came out.
recreated the entire story of Devil May Cry in live action.
They didn't recreate. That was official in-house by Capcom.
That was in-house?
Oh yeah,
That's great.
That's why it's in there. That's why it's in there. Those are actual. That's the actual people, and they were trying to set up to almost storyboard it, but instead of storyboarding it on paper, they storyboarded it on paper. Then they storyboarded it in live action, and then they took the live action, did the cutscenes over it.
Yeah. So if you ever play the game,
you can set that as a
highly
mode.
recommend it.
No, play the game once first, because otherwise you're going to be horribly lost. Then do it like that. There's so many funny things in that. Like
I've seen it. It's really funny.
The fact that V's bird, who is a normal-sized bird, is played by a person because the bird has to speak. Yeah. And so it's just a guy flapping his wings, standing on a ladder to be above everyone.
It reminds me of that guy who always goes on American Idol, and he just dresses random animals. He gets more fan votes than anything. The judges, some of them hate him. The other ones love him because of how stupid and unique his acts are.
If anyone plays fighting games and doesn't want to play character action games, Dante appears in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and 4. And Virgil appears in 3. So there you go.
There you go.
Have fun with that. All right.
My turn.
You want to talk about God of War now?
Oh, absolutely.
Go ahead.
God of War, coming out in 2005 with their very first game. This was the action cool boy mascot against Xbox's Master Chief. Like these two games would be put head to head a lot in terms of fun action-ish games to play.
Despite the fact that Halo is a first-person shooter.
One's a first-person shooter, the other's an actual first-person action game. Yeah,
not first-person
character action game. Sorry. Both have their edgy protagonist. I fucking from games all the way from the first God of War to Ascension, which I'll explain this travesty of a time frame because unfortunately God of War suffers from they really like retconning. So and I mean really love it.
I want to play a small game here and let's see if we can do this. Harlan.
Yes.
On your notes.
Yes.
Do you have written down every God of War game?
No, but I was going to go over every one that wasn't
MOBA.
I think there's a MOBA. There's something that's just not belonging there.
I want to see if you could name all of them at one point, because I have the list up here.
All right. I can name most of them, just not all of them.
All right, well, you already said God of War from 2005, so that's the first one.
I'm going to go the just straight route. God of War 1, 2, and 3.
Well, hang on. There's ones between 2 and 3.
Oh, I know.
Okay, but
I know about those.
So,
but those
1,
are partial retcons, so I'm mentioning them last.
Okay, so that's 3.
Ghost of Sparta.
Right after 3, yep.
You have Ascension.
there's a bit between Ghost Sparta and Ascension, but yes.
There is, but
I'm not
like
going
I
to count
said,
them.
all these games
Well,
in
hang on.
between.
I'm not going to count them because it's for the God of War Origins collection and then the God of War Saga, so I'm not counting re-releases.
Yes. The reason why I'm doing the list this way
No, I got it.
is because all these in-between games are for retcon reasons.
I got it. I didn't want to state that those were there. We're not going to really talk about those.
To be honest, I forget the official title of the... I feel like there's 2 more that I don't know about, or there's 1 more.
After Ascension or what?
That isn't Ascension or Ghost of Sparta.
Yes, but those are between 2 and 3.
Yeah. Like I said,
So continue
they can come
after
out
Ascension,
between...
Yeah, continue after
Just
Ascension.
keep going.
After Ascension,
Okay, those are the
away,
only 2 that I can label offhand. I forget the other 2.
All right, so real quick, after Ascension right away, we have the collection on the Vita and
count.
the remaster of 3. So ignoring those, what's after?
Again,
what's
I do not know.
No, you definitely know more than Ascension.
I'm not counting God of War 4 or Ragnarok yet.
Well, yeah, I was talking about those 2, but also you still missed one.
That's what I'm trying to say. I remember Ghost of Sparta, Ascension, God of War 1 through 3.
Yeah.
Then God of War 4 Ragnarok.
there's
I
one,
forget the other 1 or 2.
And then there's one that released the same year as God of War 4. To tie into God of War 4.
I don't remember.
A Call for the Wilds.
Call for the Wilds. That's one I didn't know about.
I think it's a phone game, most likely.
Yeah, that's probably the one I exiled because no, I'm not counting it.
It is technically, it says here, it is technically the 8th game in the series. But what you missed right after 2 is...
I'm talking about official console game.
Right after 2 is Betrayal, which is the phone game, so we can ignore that one.
Yeah,
and then right after that is Chains of Olympus.
That's what I was missing. I'm missing Chains of Olympus.
And then after Chains of Olympus would be the original collection, which we could ignore that, and then it goes right together.
Yeah, all of those games that were painfully trying to get on track...
What do you pull up?
Call for the Wild, just the cover.
That looks more like an audiobook.
It's a text-based game, it says.
Oh, that makes sense.
I think
I'm not counting it.
From what I've seen, you mainly play as Atreus.
Yeah. If anything that happens between 4...
Yeah, follows Atreus. No,
Atreus.
it's set before God of War
Ragnarok?
4. No, before 4.
That's all of my frustration leaving my body. Anyway.
There's a companion app called Mimir's Vision. I just saw that.
I remember that. Yeah, it's just a companion app.
I'm just looking at
awesome.
it. That's
it's
not
a good
game,
lore
so
keeper thing, I believe.
it's not a game. I just saw it here. All right, continue. Back to...
I will. Thank you. Not counting those bad MOBA games because they are atrocious. I'm not going to count those just because they're awful.
Bad mobile games. MOBA is something different.
Whatever. God of War. We'll start with the first one, and this pretty much gives you the roadmap. God of War is about this little boy in a village of Sparta growing up to be a great warrior. One day he's...
You can't say great warrior. He grows up to be a very angry man.
He goes into a great
we're
warrior.
not angry yet.
Yeah, no, he does originally just start as, quote, great warrior.
He starts as great warrior. He had normal skin at this point, because we'll get to white skin in a minute.
Don't call it that.
It's ash white.
He does white face.
He does white face hard.
That's true.
He starts out as like olive tan.
Yeah, he's Greek bronze.
He's Greek bronze. He is deep pitch olive.
Can you grab me a G Fuel from the fridge? I don't really care which one.
Raiders come and invade his village. Not village, but I think he's out doing a war and they're fighting raiders. I forget exactly what happens there. But point is, he loses for a hot second, and then he, at that moment, praises to Ares,
the god of war.
The god of war, those who don't know about Greek mythology.
I always said Greek mythology. You're going to learn a lot.
Yeah.
It's not factual.
No. All this in here is based off interpretation, which is why I love this series, because the whole series is based off the interpretation of Greek myth.
Oh, that's good.
And then when you get to Ragnarok, you get Norse myth, which I like the interpretation in that one a lot better. You get to God of
War 4, you get Norse myth.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You said Ragnarok.
It's part of the same series. Anyway, after he prays to Ares, he's granted the boons of the Chaos Blades. And he becomes pretty much an agent and champion of Ares, and he just goes around and fights shit.
He
Eventually,
goes to kill the gods.
not yet.
Not yet.
Well, that's
Not yet.
he goes to kill Ares in the first game.
Well,
Yeah, but
not
we're
yet.
not there
We're-
yet.
We're not at that
Stop
point yet.
jumping my storyboard.
Because
But
your
it's the-
storyboard's
he's
taking
gotta
too
wipe
long.
out his
It's
fucking
taking too
people.
long because you guys keep interrupting it.
Harlan, you spent like 5-10 minutes describing this. I described
Because
all
you-
Devil May Cry games in 5 minutes, and you're not even done with the opening hour of God of War 1.
Well, keep in mind,
Let
you
me
tried
finish.
avoiding spoilers. Harlan is not.
Yeah, we have more games to talk about, and we're
let
already,
me
like half
finish.
an hour in.
That's because you keep interrupting. Anyway,
Speed it up is what I'm saying.
I'm trying to.
Anyways, the first game ends up with
Holy shit.
Just
the
cut
first
him off,
game
just go.
ends up with Kratos murdering his wife and child because of Ares, like tinkering with his mind and shit.
Ares
And
told
then-
him to, and then he did.
No. In the middle of a blood rage on Kratos' part,
Yeah.
he's then transported to his village to
Yeah.
continue his blood rage.
Yes, Ares told him, kill these people in this village, and he went, okay.
Ares just went, kill everyone in this village.
Yeah, which included his
Said,
wife
okay.
and child.
Guise his
Daughter,
family
I think.
as illusions of enemy warriors
Yeah, that's what Michael said.
and slain them. Yes,
Fucked with his mind.
because you.
I just sped it along, and now you just slowed it all down.
Yeah. All right. So then
No, shut up. This is my topic. I didn't interrupt you during yours.
Yes, he did. After they're dead, he goes on a
Oh,
quest
fuck
to
me.
kill Ares out of
After he
revenge.
dies, he gets cursed with the ashes of his wife and child, and then becomes the.
Why are you
ghost
looking
of
at me?
Sparta.
You guys keep interrupting me.
Because I'm trying to look at you to tell you we need to move on.
I'm not talking anymore.
Didn't you want to give your opinion on each game? Or did
I
you-
wanted to give my feedback on each one, which is important or not. Because this is a train wreck of a series in terms
he's
of
not wrong there.
chronological order.
Right, so I'll just speed this along. You just played the numbered entries, then move on.
What numbered entries? There, half
1, 2, 3, 4, and then, probably Ragnarok. So that's like the only numbered one that I would say to non-numbered
Okay.
one to play.
I will give you... The problem is you need a setup of the story of why Kratos is raging,
Yes,
and then
it
you can
didn't-
speed through
It
the
didn't
rest of it.
take that. It didn't need to take that long. I could have summarized that
'Cause
whole
you
thing in
keep
2
interrupting.
sentences.
Let's
No,
stop.
it's the fact that
Harlan,
you took 2 paragraphs
we got
to explain
to his
that. I
wife-
could have done that in 2 sentences.
Harlan, we got to the
Holy
curse.
shit. Anyway,
Continue.
if you want bad explanation, he goes rampages through the Pantheon. There's a couple games that revamp a lot of this information. He just goes and then goes to the Norse Pantheon to fuck that shit up.
To retire, and then
He-
they
No,
come
fuck
to,
that
does
shit
it.
up.
He
It's
does
sped
it
up.
fu-
We're going to Bayonetta.
he comes to retire, then they fuck with him, and then he goes, you know what? I'll tear down another Pantheon!
Sure, if you want that
To
explanation.
be fair, he goes to retire, and then they start fucking with his son.
No, I'm not. He just goes and fucks with another Pantheon. We're just saying
He
that
just has-
because
he
you
just-
don't
he just
want...
has-
By the
he
way,
just has anal
Kratos
with
has another child now.
Yeah, Kratos doesn't have enough blood on his hands,
It's
so he
not
goes to
that
make
I
a
don't-
spawn to go kill him too.
Agreed. It's not that I don't want you to give the summary. It's the fact that you took 3
Because
paragraphs
you've got-
to summarize the opening hour of God of War 1.
Because I have Woody Woodpecker over here.
I could have done that in 2 sentences!
Bad sentences.
Kratos is a great and mighty warrior who is, in his dying breath, says that he needs
This
to
is
get the
taking
strength
too
of
long
Ares.
now because you keep making it too long.
No,
by
you're the one
cutting
that
off.
made it too long!
I did not.
Harlan, you took literally 3 paragraphs to explain literally the opening cutscene of God of War 1.
Do you know why? Because I was going to go through...
You don't need 3
Okay, anyway,
paragraphs to explain the opening
Bayonetta.
cutscene.
Bayonetta came out 2009 because we're not going God of War anymore because these guys don't want to talk about it.
I want you to speed the summary
2009,
up.
2009, Bayonetta came out.
This is our best episode.
I'm actually mad because you're screaming at me about not going fast enough when I keep getting interrupted, not being able to go fast enough.
It's not. You need to shorten the summary down, not go fast. You need to shorten the summary.
I'm not going to explain what happens between 1 and God of War 4. I'm just going to
The
paraphrase it
opening
down.
cutscene doesn't need a full essay to cover.
It's not an essay!
You pretty much was. You were 1 paragraph short.
Bayonetta. Demon Hunter. Female version of Dante.
I was about to say, Devil May
That's it.
Cry. It's just that she is.
That's a bit more to it
woman.
than that, but pretty
No,
much.
because you want short. Dante's Inferno. No.
Hang
You
on.
want it fast. We're
He's
going
going
fast.
No, hang on. Slow down.
No. Now you want to slow down. Eat my dick!
I want you to get all the information. You didn't even cover.
Oh, now he wants information.
Because you didn't even cover all the
This is
Bayonetta
an
games.
awful episode in terms
this
of
is the
actually
best
teaching
episode.
our
To be fair,
viewers
we
about
didn't even
shit.
talk about.
You also didn't mention the
God
most
of
important.
You're
fact.
right, we didn't, because you guys kept interrupting. Dante's Inferno.
You didn't even finish covering.
You were
Bayonetta.
just trying to give us the
Dante's
basic
Inferno,
story.
2010.
Is that it?
That's it.
It's about Dante's Inferno. That's it.
It's basically
Yeah.
just a copy of
that was
almost
a
a
quick
copy of the book.
It's,
if you know the book, there you go.
It's character action in the sense of you have a kind of badass guy in terms of church standing. That's it.
Well,
he does cool things, but he's pious.
the shortest summary is he has to go through the nine circles of hell
Yeah,
Yes.
9
to get his
plus circles.
wife?
Yeah, he's
Girlfriend?
trying to redeem his wife's soul because he
Yeah.
was unfaithful.
It's basically the book again.
Yeah. There's an animated
there's
series
one-
that does it pretty... Not series, animated movie that does it pretty good,
There's
too.
one Dante's Inferno game and one only this time, so we don't have to cover a full series.
Yeah, no, that's a quick one.
Well, I was
Do you want to actually
I was
go
upset.
back on the prior topics? And
Let's go.
I
Let's
wanna
go
go-
back
allow
to
me to
God
s-
of War.
We'll go back
Do you-
to God of War.
Okay, are you guys going to let me actually finish?
Yes, but listen, don't take a full college essay to summarize the opening.
I
cutscene
wasn't
of the game.
because I was trying to
You
make it
could've
a
just-
quick explanation, not a goddamn
You took
debate.
a full paragraph
You
to
could have
cover the
skipped
opening
right
cutscene.
to Kratos killing his mother, his
Wife.
wife and child. And
That's
basically
where I was
starting the game.
That's where I was taking it, and then I was going to steamrail past the rest of the stuff.
No, that's what I'm saying. You should have just started at. He was
All right,
he was a Spartan warrior who made a pact with Ares. Who then
You
just fucked
say
with his
that,
mind.
but because of all these retcons, we have 3 games that explain the story, 3 more games that retcon all of that story.
Harlan, I could set up the entire Yakuza franchise in less sentences, and that
How
is
many
more dense story.
retcons are there in Yakuza?
Almost none, but at the same
Exactly.
at the same time, you could also just ignore the retcons. We don't need to talk about them.
I wasn't going to go into detail about the retcons.
well, then why did you speak for 3 paragraphs on him being a child?
I talked a sentence about him being a child.
That
it
was
was
true.
less than a sentence. It
That
was
one's
half
true.
a sentence. It was 3 words.
right,
He was a
let's just-
child.
Let's just
Just continue.
the whole point of the first game after the part of the explanation.
Yeah, I won't talk because I'm not.
Well, I'll give you your time. Just the whole first
sure.
game is after he gets to that point. He's going to go on his quest, and he wants to kill Ares, and he needs to get the
Oh
ability
yeah,
to
if we
kill
wanted
God.
a place where I'm actually mad, I'm fuming. My face is red.
It is.
It is.
So that's the first game. Do you want to cover games 2 and up then?
Do you want me to?
I'll let you do it.
Because I can say it very quickly.
I'll let you do it.
Okay,
Go ahead.
do
He
it.
takes his revenge on the Pantheon after realizing a very crucial point that he finds out he is a god. He is the offspring of a god. I'm not going to tell you which one. He is the offspring of a god.
He's half god, right? Or is he full god?
Half god.
Technically half god.
So he's demigod. That's what. Okay.
Yeah, he's technically a demigod.
Yeah.
He's Hercules.
They
Right.
Percy Jackson this shit.
He is not Hercules.
No, he's
'cause
not Hercules.
Is a boss fight,
Nobody put
but he
my
is a
balls.
similar concept to Hercules.
I'm going to pop them up your ass.
So yeah.
That's it. From 1, even goes to Sparta, even because he just finds out more information to go on. They just change up the information. What I gave you in the beginning is the true what happened there.
Yeah.
Ascension is the only one I'll mention further because it mixes up saying, "Oh, this was all Ares' plan." That's it. Ascension retcons the first game.
Ascension was the weird one that
You had to
that
fight
had
the
a-
Furies,
let's say that had
and
a-
you find Ares' first son with the Fates.
not that I would say that had the weird multiplayer game, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. There's a weird multiplayer game that was kind of weird.
It's weird. Some people found it fun, other people's didn't.
That would have been cool, though.
Now look how fast that went because I wasn't going to go over each and every game.
No, that's fair, but you didn't have to cover the opening cutscene in such detail.
I did because of the retcons.
No. Okay.
The first game
so-
gives you half of that information. The first game gives you the image that he just went to his own village and murdered everyone.
I'm pretty confident in the first game that they state that it is Ares deciding to
Doing.
fuck with him because that's his whole
Yeah.
point to why he wants to kill
No,
Ares.
in the first game, Ares decided, you know what? you would be a stronger warrior if you didn't have your family.
Yeah.
So just go kill your village.
Right, and then he
Yeah.
wants to take his revenge on Ares.
Fucked with his mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
What I explained, or was trying to, was slight changes to the official retcon. Anyway, from the 3, where he finally destroys all of Greece, he goes to 4 to just hang out in Norse because he fucked up one play and he just doesn't want to do this shit anymore.
Yeah, so...
He acts like retired dad, has a son with a...
It's...
Half giant?
I wasn't going to
4
mention what she is.
It was, 10 years set 10 years after?
Yes, 10 years after.
I don't even remember her name.
No,
He goes... No one does.
Is that-
Or, no, it was Frey. That was her
Frey.
name. It's just Frey. She's no association with any of the Norse gods yet. They have a son whose name is Atreus. His second canon child. Then
Is Atreus playable in the first
second
God of War
game.
4? Just 2? Okay.
Just 2. Which
God
is
of War
God of War Ragnarok. From there, Baldur comes on Odin's order. He fucks some shit up because Baldur's like, I'm immortal. They phase him more as a brawler in this case. Fast forward more, he kills people. I was about to spoil it, but no, he kills people. Ragnarok happens. He then met with other gods, and that game mixes it up to where you play as 3 different characters.
There's a few playable, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's like 3 different. There's Atreus.
Kratos, Atreus, and then someone else.
Yeah.
Which we won't mention.
I don't remember who it is.
I do.
It's for a short time.
I do. I just won't mention it because it's spoilers.
Yeah, I think it's Freya.
Don't mention it.
It's not a spoiler.
Okay, well, you're right. It was Freya.
Yeah, because they show it in the
The show in the trailers?
yeah, they're showing the
Oh,
trailers.
never mind then.
Man, I want a God of War game where I get to play as Mimir.
So
When he gets his body back, sure.
So
just that's
real quick to basically
Now that we've cooled down.
not slower, but to recap it.
Now that I've cooled down.
God of War
buddy.
through God of War Ascension is set entirely in Greece and the Greek pantheon.
Yeah, everything that's not Ragnarok 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starting with 2018's God of War, what we've been calling God of War 4 and Ragnarok, those are set in the Norse pantheon. And
And where would
I
Kratos
don't
go
know.
next?
I don't know if they're done with the Norse pantheon or if they're done with the games.
I
at
can
all.
tease you what this original plan was after the first game.
I want him to go to Egypt.
They were going to try and make him... Well, that's the thing. They were going to try and make it so each of the gods of war from each...
Yeah,
Pantheon?
go after Kratos.
No, we're
No.
going to be the 3 wise men in the Christian mythology.
Gosh dang it.
So
Yeah, this
Norse,
is gonna get
Egyptian,
even
and
weirder.
Greek, they were going to be the 3 wise men to go see Jesus. That was the canon
I kind of want this as a road
idea
trip.
after the first game.
Kind of love it, but at the same
It's
time...
really bad. It's a bad idea.
But at the same time...
No, I
just
kind of
him
want
to go,
this as like a
fight
bad B-rated
Egypt.
road trip movie. Where they gotta like cross country it
It's great.
in like a convertible.
But yeah, God of War...
Tommy Boy style?
God of War being the second, like, most out there because you just have a ragey teen just going, ugh,
It's up there.
Zeus!
It's up there.
Yeah, but Bayonetta and Dante, they have significantly less identifying characters. Bayonetta's just female Dante.
Well, she has some to her, so she's
Yeah, she's got some to her.
Female
but
Dante,
not a
magical
whole lot.
hair.
she's
Done.
a witch. She's a witch, and her games are very, very closely inspired by Devil May Cry.
Yeah, they also vary in how good they are.
Yes. So real quick, there's now 4 Bayonetta games because they just released the weird spin-off, which we're not going to talk about because it's not a character action game.
No.
But they have 3 games, and it's simple: Bayonetta, Bayonetta 2, Bayonetta 3, and for whatever reason, starting at Bayonetta 2, they became Nintendo exclusive games.
Yes.
Nintendo doesn't own them; they just keep saying, "Put this only on our system."
They did what Monster Hunter did for a while.
Yeah, except Monster Hunter eventually got a PC port and other things, and Bayonetta 2 and 3 still haven't. I get it, 3 came out last year, but 2 came out in 2014 and has only appeared on the
But
Wii
I
U
imagine
and the Switch.
After a certain point, we may see Bayonetta on other
I
consoles.
hope it's that Nintendo keeps basically saying, we're going to give you a shit ton of money to afford these. Keep putting them only on our stuff, and that's why it's like that so
I
far.
keep looking at my mints.
Because every time you open your mints, I'm like, how many mints are you going to go through?
It's
Ty-
helping me calm down.
Ty just goes,
All right, so either way, in case you didn't know, the original creator of Devil May Cry left the series after Devil May Cry 1, I believe. I don't think he did 2. And then he went on to go and do Bayonetta.
That makes a lot more sense.
He made all the Bayonetta games.
Yeah. I did know that. It was in my notes.
So
that's why they are so closely
related.
Not even related, just they practically feel like the same game in some areas with minor changes here and there.
So let's talk about the ups and downs
they're different.
of Bayonetta.
They're different worlds.
They're cousins at that point.
Well, now they're not different worlds because now you have Bayonetta 3's multiverse theory.
Bayonetta 3, which retconned a lot of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how different these games are.
I mean, we could just do it quickly.
So, very brief. We'll give a plot setup, right? Bayonetta is a witch who fell asleep for a long period of time and is now awoken in modern day. And angels are taken over since her people or since the Umbral people
now we
are
want
dead.
to do paragraphs.
That was 2 sentences, like I said it would be. And I'm fully set up the plot of Bayonetta 1.
For those who don't know, Harlan just crossed his arms. And
Bayonetta
just,
2, I don't even remember the
chair.
plot. I just know that I didn't like it.
That's because it's a bad game.
Bayonetta 3 introduces multiverses and time travel.
Bayonetta, was it Bayonetta 2 controlled decent, but story was shit? Or is it the other way around?
No, the story was bad and the controls were kind of weird.
Alright, never mind them.
Bayonetta 3 is like that. The story of Bayonetta 3 is garbage, but the gameplay is fucking phenomenal.
I remember Bayonetta 1, my personal experience was played good, but the story was boring.
Yeah, it was just kind of basic for most of it.
Bayonetta 3 controls even better comparative to 2, the travesty. And
Bayonetta 3 is probably...
Story's just hard to follow.
So, real quick, Bayonetta 1 is probably... It's what a lot of people still say is the best one.
Because it's most true to itself.
The story is kind of boring, but at the most part, it's mostly just large set pieces that they're like, what cool and weird things can we have Bayonetta do that'll look cool? Aside from those big set pieces, the story to bridge them is not great.
Yeah.
The ending is pretty hype, but again, that's just another big set piece.
2, it was people said it looked great, but it doesn't control
looks
or
really
feels
good.
nice.
It's weird. It just felt weird. And then Bayonetta 3, the gameplay is fantastic. It controls amazing.
I just hope
and
you
then
have
there's
the time
so many
to play
story
this game.
problems.
If you don't have the time to play this game, you're gonna feel like these levels take a long time. Because to play through an entire level between cutscenes and action. Yeah, for me it always takes an hour because I always like to explore. I watch all the cutscenes.
Yeah.
So
I'm giving ranges because A, not every chapter is the same length, but B,
people play at different speeds.
Yeah. So the story of Bayonetta 3 is god awful though. Every time the whole time I was playing the game, I was just sitting there complaining. I was like, God, this story is bad.
I've seen way worse stories.
It's bad because
I think the 1 and 2 was worse.
You didn't get to the parts where it gets really bad though.
No, I didn't.
That's the worst part. Without ruining anything, Bayonetta and Jean basically become brain dead starting at the second half because they wrote it in such a way that they're like, well, the villain has to win, or the villain has to not win, but the villain has to essentially pull off his plan so that we can trigger the end sequence. Oh, how's that going to happen? Bayonetta and Jean are right next to him. They just don't realize he's the villain yet. He gets them while they're not looking. Yeah, okay. That is basically what happens.
Yeah, that does sound stupid.
They're trying to essentially do what Devil May Cry 5 did, because without ruining it, Devil May Cry 5 is essentially trying to retire and move to Nero as the main character now.
Yeah.
Bayonetta 3 is trying to retire.
I mean, they did that successfully well by making Dante look old as shit.
No, they did great with it. Bayonetta 3 is trying to retire Bayonetta to move to the new character whose name I don't even remember.
I would describe it easily as this without going into too much more detail, because I feel like anything else is just spoiler.
Yeah.
Dante is Big Brother, Bayonetta's little brother. And little brother's just trying to copy what Big Brother's doing.
Yeah, that's pretty close. They are trying to retire, and the retiring process is just awful. I mean, absolutely.
There's good and bad ways. There's a reason why he left, because they probably coaxed him to leave.
Without ruining anything, there's a big scene at the end of the game that's supposed to be this big emotional scene where Bayonetta is saying her last goodbye to Jean, one of her only friends, and they exchange no words. And they set it up like it's going to be this big goodbye because the music is like trying to be sad and all, and there's no words between either of them.
Nice.
I think she says Jean, and that's it. And Jean says nothing and stares at her.
Because I felt like we spent way too much time on Bayonetta because it's not that big of a...
It's true, but can I say one more thing?
No.
Yes, I will personally allow you to say
He's
your
just
last
really
thing.
butthurt.
You're
about
going to
this.
love this one.
I am, because you guys
Bayonetta
kept
3
interrupting.
has one of the best scenes of any video game possible.
That has something for you players to look up to.
The opera.
Yeah, the opera's
the
pretty
Fifth
good.
Element style opera. And if, to those of you who don't know what the Fifth Element was, it's an 80s action movie with Bruce Willis, the main character.
A very underrated movie.
And one of the famous scenes...
I don't think it's
sci-fi action.
Sci-fi action, yes. It's kind of
I don't
underrated.
think it's kind of underrated. It's not as underrated.
Well, no
It's-
one that
it's-
doesn't know 80s action movies ever heard of it. But
Yeah,
if you know
exactly.
80s action movies, you know it.
I have
If you know 80s action movies,
I
it's
have
one of the top.
been
Oh,
the
100%.
reason why people have seen that movie more
We
times
showed-
than I have
Do you remember
phalanges.
we watched it in our
Yeah,
game
we
club in
watched it in
college,
Games Club.
and one person aside from us had seen it.
Well, no, I've been
Who?
Jacob's reason
Jack.
for seeing
course.
it. I've been Will's reason for seeing
Yeah.
it, I believe.
Well, I
I've
mean,
been
we
my
sat there-
wife's reason for seeing it.
No, but I mean, we sat there and basically showed our entire college game club with like 20 people aside
Yeah.
from us. So either way, yeah, there's a scene that's basically just parodying one of the big famous
I
scenes
think
in
I'm
the
in
Fifth
Paul's
Element.
reason for seeing it, too.
Probably. There's a big famous scene in the Fifth Element, the opera, and there's just a parody of it in Bayonetta 3.
It's pretty decent. I like
It
it.
was
I don't like the
hilarious.
chick they got because she just sounds weird halfway through parts.
She kind
But
of does.
besides that, because we spent too much time on Bayonetta, that it deserves.
That's my fault.
Dante, we already talked about in Brisk Anger, but
I got one.
there's not much about it. I was also going to mention,
one.
because I remembered it, the Darksiders series technically count as character action games.
Yep.
Yeah, well, character action games is kind of loose, so they do fit in. Some people say
Yeah.
they won't, but they do.
They do. They're very little
there-
in terms of actual shooting,
Is
so
there-
it's all melee combat for the
No,
most
I
part.
know, but is it
Yeah.
3 of them or is there 4 now?
There's 4, but I'm going to say there's 3.
Oh, there is 4.
Four has Strider, but it's Diablo
Oh.
style combat.
That's right.
And
I'm gonna be honest, I never played half of these.
yeah,
It's not because I didn't want to, I just never got around to it.
in order, you have 1 being the greatest because you have
The voice actors that we're trying for?
yeah,
Liam
Liam.
O'Brien.
Yeah, there was Liam O'Brien. I was going to say Liam Neeson for a minute. No, Liam O'Brien, who voices War. Then you have Death. I forget who he's voiced by, but second best game.
Mark Hamill?
No, it wasn't Mark Hamill
No.
because Mark Hamill's the demon.
Oh, okay. Oh, the main character of 2, Death. I was thinking the
Main character of 2.
the guy that like shows up throughout like the series.
No, yeah, that's Mark Hamill, but he's and he's a demon or a shade. 3, the Mark Hamill plays a demon. He plays the demon of greed, where your main character's Fury. All are pretty good games.
Michael Anthony Claudio Wincott voiced Death in 2.
There we go. But all these games are pretty fun. They have platforming. They're character action games.
They're probably the best. Them or God of War. They're probably the best version of action adventure and character action game hybrid.
I'm going to personally say God of War a little bit more,
Well, it's gonna come down to what you want.
just because I am not bored halfway through God of War, where God of War not God of War, Darksiders 3 and part of 2, I am bored as shit.
2, I heard similar things, but to be fair, I've only played the first game.
The first one's worth playing.
It's the only one I know.
It really is.
2 is technically my favorite in terms of what's happening, but it's boring halfway through it.
I think the cover of Darksiders 1 is misleading if you've ever seen it.
Vaguely.
It's the Headless Horseman.
Is it the Headless Horseman?
Is it?
It's the art of the Headless Horseman.
No, because that's War's Horse. He just has a really small frame body.
Yeah, Headless Horseman.
It looks like a Headless Horseman.
As I said, it's misleading.
Horseman.
War doesn't...
War is on there.
Yeah, I
the
think
way
the
they
color
build the
choice is
bodies is just WoW style, where you have super big pauldrons and their heads are kind of sunken in for some of the heavily armored characters.
Yeah.
But that's all I had for my 3, technically 4, with Darksiders added. I had more, but
I'll breeze through...
We could talk about Yakuza.
I'll breeze through Yakuza real fast, then I think we gotta mention No More Heroes.
Yeah, we gotta
do have to
that's
mention No More
yours.
You know, let's do
Heroes.
No More Heroes first. I can breeze to Yakuza later.
Yeah, because
I feel like
Yeah.
we should end on Yakuza because Yakuza.
Well,
is
no, we
little
have a
bit
list
more
of things to end on.
We'll end on Yakuza, sure. After No More Heroes, if we don't have anything else to talk about, we could hit
Because No More
this
Heroes,
whole list that I have.
is I'm going to say better than Yakuza just because of the
It's
content.
better, but not a
No More
not a lot of
Heroes-
people know about it.
Yeah, but that's what makes it better and worth mentioning.
No More Heroes is very different than Yakuza, so it's going to come down to your style of preference.
I think it's better because of its references.
Well, yeah,
And
if that's what
gameplay.
you want, then that's what you want. No More
Well,
Heroes.
I say
obviously.
gameplay, but
So
the fact you had to use
No
the
More
Wii for
Heroes.
1 was kind of trash.
It just got ported to the Switch.
Oh,
1 and 2
sweet.
just got Switch ports, and one
Nice.
got a way updated PS3 port. It looks great. It's an HD. It was an HD port.
Nice.
No More Heroes. Heroes Paradise was the version name.
Yes.
So real quick, No More Heroes was made by Suda51. That's what he goes by. And he did a few other games. On this list, he did Killer is Dead and Killer 7, which are very No More Heroes style games. Liam O'Brien voiced the main character in Killer is Dead as well.
Yes, he is. I meant to say does, but yeah.
So No More Heroes is basically
My brain is
Joke.
riddled due to rage.
joke action. It's very comedic, and it's a lot of references and dumb shit that's happening. And our main character, Travis Touchdown, is based on Johnny Knoxville. I'm serious. You ever look at him?
Yeah.
He's
Yes.
literally based on his appearance. And that's why there's a lot of like Jackass style jokes in the first one where most fights open with Travis getting like decimated by some big blow and then getting up like it's nothing, because they were literally parodying Jackass. Either way, these are probably some of the most influential or famous character action games aside from like Devil May Cry or the bigger titles that have managed to be like big series that are, is it really, like God of War and Yakuza. This and Bayonetta are usually the ones after that. And I think this is 100% better than Bayonetta. I know it's personal bias, but
No, I agree with you. Bayonetta just feels like another Dante. I like
It's
Bayonetta, but
because
for
somehow
practically just perv reasons.
it's because somehow Bayonetta games get worse with each installment,
Yeah.
and then 3 is like kind of better than 2, but kind of worse in different
I
areas.
just like there's kaiju.
And I think No More Heroes is better than
I just
the
love
enemy
the
design
fact that we're
Bayonetta
going to
sucks.
glimpse over that.
Yeah,
Most people that like Bayonetta at this point are perverts.
it's true. Travis,
Fair
is,
enough.
However,
If
the
you
main
want to
hero
play
of No
it for
More
a game,
Heroes is a pervert.
if you want, yeah, he's canon a pervert, so it ties in.
Here's the
if
story.
you want to play a game that's worth playing for actual gameplay, play Dante's or play
Devil May Cry.
or Dante's Inferno for that matter.
You want fun comedy, you want No More Heroes. Here's the story premise. One sentence. Ready? Travis Touchdown, our main hero, he wants to have sex, and he's promised to have sex by this hot lady if he becomes the #1 ranked assassin in the world. So he
Canon
goes
Max.
on a quest to be the #1 ranked assassin, starting at rank 11. And each game kind of follows a similar pattern where there's 10 boss fights.
I will also say, because I like this part the most, even though his last name's Touchdown, he does
He
practically
is not
no
touchdown
He does not touch down, and he also has almost no football references.
until No More Heroes 3. It's canon. He's boned.
There you go.
He has children.
He, as the collectible attack you can do to enemies, loves wrestling and suplexes.
Well, he used to be a masked wrestler.
Yeah. So, I just like that it's a collectible, that you can collect
Wrestling
different-
masks?
different just moves.
Yeah. So,
'Cause you can just straight up do a German suplex or whatever.
So in addition, No More Heroes, real quick. There's No More Heroes 1, which came out in 2007. No More Heroes 2, which came out in 2010, and the same year, No More Heroes: Heroes Paradise, which was the PS3 re-release because these 1 and 2 are Wii games. Travis Strikes Again: No More Heroes, which is a weird spin-off. Then, which came out a long time later, and then between Travis Strikes Again and No More Heroes 3, we did get re-releases of No More Heroes 1 and 2 on the Switch. So if you do want these, they're like $30, I think, on the Switch for one of them. So it's pretty worth it. They didn't upscale the graphics or anything, so it still has the not great Wii graphics because these games never looked that good on the Wii. But
No, nor did
gameplay
they
is-
control well on the Wii.
no, but
Or did any game look good on the Wii?
there were some,
There were a few.
very few, but there
Wii
were some.
Sports.
It was like,
Wii Sports.
oh, my bad.
So
Dude, Wii Sports was the bomb. You can't
Either
tell
way,
me different.
You know what? I challenge you to me boxing.
shit.
I'd
so
win.
either no, you wouldn't.
You're
So,
right, I wouldn't because they don't make nunchucks wires long enough for me.
for you to choke Michael.
I could choke them with it fine. They just don't make it for my arm length.
They don't make the cord good enough, so it'll pull out of the
pull
Wii
out.
remote
That too,
before you-
yeah.
Damn it! I was almost there. He turned blue. So Real quick, we
Almost got
forgot
into
to
red
mention
phase.
why these were Wii games. The whole point, Travis fights with a beam katana because he's a big nerd and loves Japanese bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
So he bought a beam katana off eBay that's actually canon.
It's just a lightsaber.
Yes.
Yep.
But he's too lazy to change the batteries in it, so he has a battery that's dying.
Yeah, and
So-
to recharge that
You
battery,
have to shake the Wii remote like you're jerking off.
yes.
And then Travis will do a similar pose while he shakes it to get more juice in the battery. They kept that through every game in the franchise.
It's great. It's a great signifier.
Even No More Heroes 3 does the same thing on the Switch.
Does it?
Yes.
yeah.
What?
I played with a controller, so you just flick the stick up and down. But if you play in, they say recommending you play in
With
hand
the
with the
nunchuck,
with the
with the
Switch
Switch
remotes, the
remotes.
Joy-Cons, and you have to.
Yeah, because he gets in a whole position. I'm going to stand up for a minute for Michael's visual representation.
They do. That's why No More Heroes the remakes do the same with the Switch.
we
Joy-Con.
got
I have to buy it on the Switch
left
now.
hand on his
his
thigh,
lap. And
right
he does
hand.
that. I know what he does. It's
So
just that I
good.
didn't know you had to do that with the Switch remotes now.
Yes,
These
Well, you can
games
do-
just get better and better each time. Though they get funnier and
they're
funnier.
great because they literally just did the Fooly Cooley approach and just go do whatever you want.
Yeah, well, this guy Suda51's known for that. So if you like No More Heroes and you're like, this is great, but I played all the games and I need more, you try Killer is Dead and Killer 7, his other two games.
It's a better
I think he
version
did
of
some
what
other
Saints
stuff.
Row tries to do at this
Facts.
point. Because at least No More Heroes is better comedy halfway through. Saints Row, it's just the same slapstick stuff. It's like I'm watching an Adam Sandler, just timeline. Because his early movies are great, his later movies are not.
Hey.
Yeah, he's
Adam
done some.
Sandler's still good. He's not number one actor, but
He's
still
done
good.
some
Yeah, because
other
Jack
games.
and Jill is phenomenal.
He's done some other
You and
games,
I have
but
totally different opinions.
You like Jack and Jill?
Oh, I thought you were saying you liked
no, he's trying
No, I
to
was
be
being sarcastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jack and Jill is absolute trash. That's what broke the camel's back for me. I think his best stuff is Billy Madison, Big Daddy.
Oh, Big Daddy's awesome.
The one
Dude.
where he has a blue
Okay,
toe. I can't
we can
remember
talk
that
about
one.
Adam Sandler and actors later.
Mr. Deeds.
Yes, Mr. Deeds.
So hang on, real quick. So I pulled up what else Suda51's done. That's the name he goes by. So the big games he's known for is just No More Heroes, Killer is Dead, and Killer 7, and one more. And we're going to talk about that at some point because it's on my list here. And I didn't realize he did that. And it's one of your favorite games that I said I don't know how you didn't think of it.
Probably
Yeah.
because I was focused on the big boys.
We got 12 minutes left. I'll summarize Yakuza at the end because I'm the only
Yeah,
one who's like
Yakuza's
super,
easy.
super
You're the only one
in-depth
super
and deep
in the
into
lockdown.
these games.
Yeah, it's. I also
Like a Dragon now it's called.
Yeah,
Which is what it's always been called. That in
It's
Japan.
easy enough to tell
Yeah.
the stuff through the
So-
game.
Let's just run through them.
Here's what we didn't mention, and I didn't put down all the ones. I just put down like the noteworthy ones because there's a lot more I missed or skipped.
Yeah.
Obviously, we already talked about Devil May Cry,
Yep.
Ninja Gaiden, not the original set like the NES ones. They got the
Yeah.
remakes on the PS2.
It's just not my cup of tea personally. If that's
Well,
what
they
you're talking
didn't.
about.
No, that's fair. These are ones that we could mention.
Huh.
God Hand also on the PS2.
Oh God, I just forgot. That's a great one.
We mentioned Bayonetta, Metal Gear Rising,
Oh, how did we forget that?
Nier, the two Nier games,
Oh, Nier Automata is it?
and it's a
Were you surprised I didn't mention it?
No, these are just ones we didn't talk.
Because
that we
I
can't-
never actually played Nier Automata.
Oh, that's fair. Did you play the first one? Because
No, I played
Nier
that.
Nier
No, I haven't
Automata is the
played
second
Nier.
one. Okay, so Astral Chain. Astral Chain is
That's the
done,
newest one that came out, right?
done by Platinum, and it's basically what Bayonetta 3 tried to do because they share a lot of copies with Astral Chain. The big gimmick in Astral Chain is you're controlling two characters. You're controlling a person, and then they have a
beast.
I forget what it's called.
No, it's like some Gundam looking shit.
No, because it's a smaller. It's like a fleshy alien thing.
Yeah, it's weird.
They're connected by a chain, which is why it's called Astral Chain. Stop calling me. So the whole gimmick, though, Bayonetta 3 allows you to control her demons.
Yeah.
It's in a similar method to Astral Chain.
Yeah, I wanted to play it, just never had the chance, so I forgot about it.
The story, basic borderline cookie cutter. So a few flaws, nothing major, nothing great. Gameplay, phenomenal.
Sweet. Next.
Cool.
Beautiful Joe.
Is that the one you...
No.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out which one you mean, because all these are they're good, and they are noteworthy.
They're just not well known.
Some of these
Yeah.
are. Nier is definitely
Beautiful
well known.
Joe is.
Nier is
Yeah.
definitely well known. Metal Gear Rising is
I'm
definitely
just-
well known.
That's true.
I personally don't like Beautiful Joe because
That's
of its
fair. I'm just pulling it up.
kind of 2D platformish, but still 3D.
But it's yeah.
The Wonderful 101.
Never heard
Also,
of it, but yeah.
also done by Platinum Games.
All right.
It's basically action game Pikmin. You control 100 people, and they're all small, fighting giant enemies.
Yep.
Okay.
We talked about Dante's Inferno.
Yep.
We talked about Darksiders.
Yes.
We talked about God of War.
Yes.
Hi-Fi Rush just came out. I didn't play it, but it did just
It's
come
supposed to be really good.
We talked about. I mentioned Killer's Dead briefly. I'm going to skip the one that that's your favorite. Sifu is out. We didn't really talk about that.
We talked about it in other stuff. Sifu, was it you die?
Every time you die, he doesn't technically die. He leaves, comes back in 10 years after training, where he updates new stuff, and it's almost like a roguelike in that sense.
Yeah,
and your goal is to beat the villain before he dies of old age.
It's a strange roguelike. I wouldn't personally count it, but sure.
It was on there. Spider-Man. There's various old PS2 ones, but the newest one, specifically 2018 Spider-Man, is typically counted.
I wouldn't count him as cool, but...
Well, that's a personal thing, but it fits under the gameplay style.
Yeah.
We're going to mention Yakuza in a bit.
I wouldn't count him as cool badass.
Asura's Wrath. I know you wanted to play and you never did, I don't think.
Yeah, because I
played
kept hearing there's no actual combat. It's literally...
So there is combat.
Yeah, there's
it's just
minor
awful.
combat. Yeah.
So there's two types of combat. There's weird Star Fox-like sequences where you're just moving and like gut shooting things, and then the other part is this weird brawler combat, which is okay-ish. It's not great, but the issue is that it's just the same the whole time. You don't get new abilities, you don't get new moves, and you have a very limited move set.
If I were to describe
So you don't
Asura's
beat
Wrath,
anything.
sure, I could call it a action game, but you're doing more quick time events than anything. It feels more like a novel game.
It was amazing for the story, though.
Yeah, it was really good. It just recreates what Dragon's Quest is.
I don't think you mean Dragon's Quest.
Are you sure?
What's Dragon's Quest, real fast?
Pretty sure Dragon's Quest is it's pretty much a quick time game where you make sure you pick the right path.
No.
What game am I thinking of?
Dragon's Quest is made by Square Enix, and that's their other big RPG like Final Fantasy.
Are you sure you're not thinking Dragon's Dogma?
No, Dragon's Dogma is the character action game.
I'm talking about that old animation that you could play on an arcade cabinet.
Dragon Slayer,
That's what it is.
right? I think Dragon Slayer is correct.
Oh, you know what? It probably is, because I was thinking that plus Space Quest, which are the same thing.
Dragon Slayer is correct.
Yeah, Dragon Slayer and Space Quest. That's what I was thinking. Which Space Quest, I'm pretty sure, is the sci-fi version of it.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, Dragon Slayer is what you're thinking of. No, Okay, so
Whatever. Same thing. It feels like that.
they did Shinobi, which again was similar to Ninja Gaiden, was a bunch of old basic platformer games that got a early to mid 2000s character action remake. Zone of the Enders, which is a Gundam style.
Okay.
Do you know that one or no?
No.
Vaguely. I haven't personally played it.
They had an anime for it if you're interested. It's basically just a character action game, but you're in a giant robot the whole time. And that's the ones I wanted to mention. There was like a Transformers one that I didn't care to mention.
Now, what's this mystery one?
Do you want to take a guess? He mentions this game all the time, and I don't know how it didn't come to mind.
I have no clue.
I'm gonna start describing it. I'm gonna see how long it takes you to get it.
Dishonored?
You're a high school girl who's in.
Pop Chainsaw. You're right. I don't know why I didn't think. I even thought about it after the rage fact, but I was going to let you finish your thing and mention it later.
That's done by the guy who did No More Heroes.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of
really
sense.
great game. That's just a fun. I don't.
It's one of those jokes.
I mention it a lot, but not nearly as much as I do Dishonored.
You talk about Dishonored more, I think, but
Definitely. Like when it comes up, I mention Lollipop Chainsaw. It's just a good shut your brain off play game.
yeah, but that's the one I was thinking you were going to talk about, and then you didn't mention it.
No, because I felt like God of War, Bayonetta, and even Dante's Inferno deserved more of a
They're probably
spotlight.
They're more well known, I would say.
They are.
Except
Alright,
Dante's Inferno.
That's fair. That one's a bit smaller.
Okay,
you know what?
Run off through
I'm going to
Yakuza
mention
fast.
one more that wasn't in your list, but because I like old games like this, the Castlevania series.
So
Specifically, not the series.
No, I know what you're gonna mention.
The
two
third
Lords
person,
of Shadow.
yeah,
games.
the two Lords of Shadow games.
I saw those. Like,
They
I went through a whole
aren't
list.
The best, but they are there and have really good narrative.
I just didn't want to. I just didn't want to mention those, but those I did see those on my list. I went through a whole list.
Some people like them, some people hate them.
Yeah, they're weird.
I'm in the phylum of liking them, partially because you have Patrick Stewart in there. He voiced
That's the
one of the
only reason.
characters. Actually, he voiced. I can't remember if he voiced in both games, but he definitely voiced a character in there.
That's his only reason behind it.
Dude, it's canon. Most games that Patrick Stewart just plays a character in end up being pretty good games to play, whether good or bad. You want my prime example?
Yeah,
So-
please.
Oblivion.
So just
Played the King of Tamriel.
You know what?
just real fast, just some others we didn't talk about because I'm like, who's gonna care?
Name another one, though.
Name another one?
Yes.
The Lords of Shadow one. It's actually worth playing.
I haven't played that one, so.
It's a good one. You need a PS3 to play it, but it's worth playing.
I'll give you
Is it on
Oblivion.
PS4?
You have Oblivion.
Is it not on PS4?
No, they don't have a port for it.
Oh, weird.
I think part of it because I think that company no longer makes games,
Yeah, that's
or
Probably.
they don't find it worth rebooting. Hold on. I feel like there's two more out there that I don't.
Okay, we still
Remember.
gotta get through Yakuza.
yeah. I could do that real fast though. Some other ones that I'm just like real quick, just look it up to see. Vanquish, Heavenly Sword. They had an Afro Samurai game. Baldur's Sky, Blood Over, Bladed Fury. Like, I'm just going through a bunch of these. Bujingai I didn't mention because who the fuck even knows Bujingai aside from me? Exactly.
Don't even look at me.
Do you know who Gact is? The Japanese. I
No.
think he's an actor. He basically was so in love with character action games that he was like, I want to make a character action game about me, Gact. And I voiced myself in Japanese, but everyone else is voiced in English. I shit you not, that is real. They have English voice actor. Oh, you know what? I think he's Chinese, actually. Yeah, it's Chinese. So yeah, the whole game is based on like Chinese mythology, and Gact is like this big Chinese like ancient warrior. The game looks great because it's entirely dependent on him basically doing blade dancing. So the whole time's him spinning and flipping swords around for all his basic
All right,
combos.
I don't know if these games are any good, but we got
Chaos
Felix the Reaper,
Legion.
Shadow Point, Memory of Us,
Crocs
The War of
Allure,
the World something, Lego
The
Universe
Dishwasher.
something, Star Trek, X-Men,
Oh yeah, Final Fantasy 15 is basically a character
Uh,
action game. Even though it
Forgotten
sucks.
Realms something.
Ghost of Tsushima they put on here, and Neo. Oh, there was a Ghost Rider.
Tsushima.
There was a Ghost Rider game from 2007 that's a character action game.
I'm
forgot
not
about
counting
that.
that
It counts. It's just
It counts.
no one's gonna care. They had Kamen Rider ones that never got released in
because they somehow made something that was worse
Legend of Korra.
than the movie.
Did you play the game?
Yes,
The game was great. I
I
think you're thinking of a
disagree.
different game.
possibly.
They had multiple Ghost Rider games around that time.
Then I'm thinking of a bad one because most of those games are trash.
This one is basically almost an exact ripoff of Devil May Cry. The
Yeah,
bonus
no, I never
is
played that one.
he teams up with Blade at some point, and the bonus is after you beat the game, you can play as Blade for no real reason except that he plays entirely differently.
Okay.
Legend of Korra.
What happened to
Avengers.
Yakuza?
I'm going to cover those
okay.
now. I'm just going through a bunch of shit. Oh, they had a Nightmare Before Christmas game. That was a character
I don't
action
care.
game.
I did not know
Yeah,
that.
they had that. It was developed by Capcom.
That's
No, I'm
kind
good.
of stupid. Okay.
You play as Jack. And
I-
you try to
I-
kill
the
Oogie
thank
Boogie.
you.
I see enough.
Okami. I should have mentioned Okami.
I
That's
see
that's-
enough Nightmare Before Christmas
Onimusha's.
on emo
Onitabara.
kids' flesh than I do
Sukuna.
personally in real
Nexus.
life because it's a movie I watch every
Solstice.
year on Christmas.
It's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
really good quality movie. It's
good
one of the
Tim
4
Burton
Disney
movie.
movies
It has
I've
slowly
actually
become
seen.
my least favorite thanks to
Man. Sunset Overdrive.
fat emo kids.
Why do you care?
Teenage Mutant Ninja
Because
Turtles, Mutants in
personally, that's
Manhattan.
part of my childhood, and watching
I
some
mean-
kid get
I mean,
a tattoo of it
You're
World of
and
Technically-
saying it's the best Tim Burton
Origins.
film piece ever, and they forget that Beetlejuice exists.
Batman.
Some
Batman.
people really like the Batman movies. They're not the best, but they're there.
What else? He did some other stuff though. What else?
Corpse Bride. It's really good. It's slept on, but it's good.
You know what? Fuck it. Tim Burton movies, real quick.
We're on Tim Burton movies.
No, I'm just looking up what Tim Burton did.
Did a lot of good things.
He did the Alice in Wonderland remake. The movie.
Yeah, he did.
Weird. He did Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, Edward Scissorhands slept on a lot.
I think a lot of stuff he did.
He did the
having Johnny Depp.
Yeah, he did Charlie and the Chocolate Factory remake.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Yep. No. He did Big Fish. I didn't know that. I don't like that movie.
Nope.
He did Sweeney Todd.
Mm-hmm.
I love that movie.
Did Sleepy Hollow. He did Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. And
he did? That one I actually didn't know. I like
He did
that
9.
movie.
I forgot he did 9. You know what else I forgot he did? Mars Attacks.
Yeah, I like Mars Attack. Point is, he does a lot of really good stuff.
Oh, he did the Planet of the Apes remake.
He did?
2001.
Oh, wait, no. We're not thinking of the same one. I'm thinking of the remake. No, that one's trash.
Oh, that's right. They did a remake.
Yeah, those movies are really good. I'm rewatching them again with my wife because they're great. Watching Andy Serkis get mad as Monkey is amazing.
He did James and the Giant Peach.
Yeah.
He did Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
Yes.
Dude, what the fuck?
He
did the Muppets movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
He does a really large variety of really good work.
What the fuck?
And watching some fat emo kid just say, no, Nightmare Before Christmas is the best. No other movie comes down to it that he's made.
That's my favorite Tim Burton movie.
I mean,
Mars
that's because they
Attacks.
probably haven't even seen any other movie that he made.
It's just they follow the bandwagon.
When will you realize that
I think I'm going
bandwagon.
most people go, Disney's number one. Anything else is just garbage.
That's the same thing. It's just emo bandwagoning.
Exactly.
That's why I hate it.
Exactly. So why do you care?
Because
real quick,
here it is that the youth is destroying things I like.
That's true.
Fuck, the music
youth
industry's
sucks.
doing it to music I like too.
That's true. The youth sucks. Okay.
They just did it to the fucking Maya He Maya O song, whatever. They made a remake of that song.
Real quick, Mars Attacks probably my favorite one. I think I'm gonna go with Mars Attacks.
Mars Attacks, that one's good.
Mars Attacks is great.
I think I'm going with
it's
Mars
great.
Attacks. My mother really likes Mars Attacks.
It's a good movie.
Mars Attacks a really good movie. I have to give it to Sweeney Todd though.
I never cared for it.
Beetlejuice, Sweeney Todd's okay.
Beetlejuice
It gets
really
flat at the end. That's the only reason why I don't mention Sweeney Todd.
Fair enough.
I never cared for it.
I like Corpse Ride. Out of his stop motion pictures, I like that one probably the best. I think it's a better love story in terms of romance in his stop motion pictures than Nightmare Before Christmas.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Nightmare Before Christmas is just a guy with a weird addiction and a wife who supports it.
Hang on, I have to look up a movie with Johnny Depp.
It's a little more than that. But
It is. I'm paraphrasing completely. Point is, it feels like Sally's love is one-sided 100% half the time.
Oh, it is.
Whereas in this one, it's an actual misunderstanding, and he actually has feelings for her by the end of it, but he still has feelings for
I had to check to make
the
sure
other
this,
chick. It's not like real feelings, but it's.
I had to check to make
I'm
sure
your
this
good
wasn't.
friend.
I had to check to make sure this wasn't Sweeney Todd. Do you remember Dark Shadows?
Yes.
That movie's bad good.
It really is.
Tim Burton also did Halloween, I believe.
He didn't do Tim Burton.
Frankenweenie. That's
Tim
what it is.
Burton didn't do Dark Shadows. It's because it had Johnny Depp in it, and
Yeah.
all of those blend together for me.
I like Dark Shadows, so it's funny.
It's like bad funny, yeah. All right, so real quick.
Honestly,
'cause we're at
most
time.
of Johnny Depp's movies are like bad funny.
Yeah, usually.
Character action game.
Yeah, we're
Best
gonna
character
action game. Best Tim Burton movie.
Best character action character Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp.
Oh, we should get a Johnny Depp.
We should
character
get
action game.
that. I was about to say
Warning.
that, and it's him against Amber Heard.
Warning. Probably don't wear with earbuds.
All right, so real quick, because we're at time, I'm gonna go through the
Yeah, go through Yakuza fast.
So,
It's easy too.
so
They're pretty straightforward.
I'm only gonna cover English released games because a bunch that are released in Japan.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna cover spin-off. I'll cover spin-offs, I guess, real fast. Basically, before we get into it though, Yakuza.
Mention the spin-offs that are worth mentioning.
I'm just gonna there's like most of them are except for like one that I'll just throw a one-word sentence in for it because it basically sucks. I'm a huge Yakuza fan. I love the game series. It's called Like a Dragon in Japan. It always has been. In America, they're now calling them Like a Dragon. So if you ever see newer ones, they're going to be called Like a Dragon. That's still the same series. These are Sega games that are huge in Japan. They're absolutely massive, and they just started getting like big recognition over here. I've played them for a long time, a little over 10 years.
They're
at this
almost
point.
their version of GTA.
No.
In terms of...
It gets that comparison a lot, but there's nothing you could do in GTA.
No,
you could do
not
in
in terms of gameplay. In terms of theme. You have American gangs in GTA. You have
Yakuza, which is not like gangs at all. This is more closer to a mafia story, which GTA isn't a mafia story.
Then it is the mafia.
That's a bit closer.
Point is, it has gangs and mafia stuff where you're just fighting other gangs and mafia stuff.
It's not like GTA because the gameplay is completely different.
I was trying to give a more wide example of a game people have played more.
Well, I was going to cover it. If you want it, it's probably closer to something like Sleeping Dogs, if anyone remembers what that was.
Pick something that's not as obscure.
No.
I'll take Mafia, because Mafia is at least close enough.
Either way. So, basically, though, in most games, there are a few spin-offs. You're going to play as a guy named Kazuma Kiryu, who was in the second largest Yakuza faction in Japan, and in the opening he gets thrown out immediately because he takes the fall for a crime he didn't do, goes to jail, gets out, and then now he's on a quest to try to understand what happened and stop the evil, and that's without ruining any spoilers. That's game one. I'm not going to cover the plot of each game because they're very massive and these games are very story heavy. They really want you to be invested in their 40-hour plot. And when I say 40-hour plot, I mean 40-hour plot. Half of you playing the game is going to be just watching the cutscenes.
I know I'm staring at you like this because I'm going to comment later about this extra stuff we didn't need to know about that's dragging the time out.
Right, it is. So I'm waiting for you to cut me off so that I...
No, I'm going to patiently wait.
Talking. No, because you should cut me off so that I stop talking.
No.
Because I'm dragging this out and I shouldn't be.
You are so butthurt about it, and it's funny.
I'm
just saying.
Because it took forever because I kept getting interrupted and having to retract what I was saying.
Because you didn't need to take 4 paragraphs to cover just the opening cutscene.
You just took one...
I took 2...
1 to 1.5 to explain the first game, which didn't need all that extra background.
I took 2 sentences to set up the plot of game 1.
They were really run-on sentences.
You play as Kazuma Kiryu.
Continue.
Okay. You play as Kazuma Kiryu.
Bad tie.
Who's in the second largest Yakuza group. He gets arrested. He gets out of jail.
No, went over that. Continue.
No, that's what I'm saying, though. Those 2 sentences. Either way, yeah. So Yakuza 1 came out in 2005, near the end of the PS2's life cycle, which they still managed to squeeze Yakuza 2 out on the PS2. Again, I'm not going to cover all of them, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4. After 4 is Dead Souls, which is a weird, bad spin-off. It can be fun, but the performance of the game tanks your console to the point when it is so slow, I think I've seen people without legs run faster. I'm not joking, that's how slow it is. It's one of those games where it'll lag and just tank the performance of the console.
I'm just waiting for you to continue.
Then there was
I'm being a polite individual.
No, you shouldn't be. We're not polite on this podcast. Then there's Yakuza 5, and then 0, which is the prequel. Then 6, which ends the Kiryu saga. Just before 6 was Kiwami, a remake of 1. Just after 6 was Kiwami 2, a remake of 2. Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise, if anyone's interested, they did a Fist of the North style game. They did a Fist of the North Star game in the style of Yakuza. They then did another spin-off, Judgment, which is canon to Yakuza.
Now, I'm pretty sure, because I'm confused halfway through this, because of just you mentioning a random game, is that part of the Yakuza series, or did you just mention it as a add-on?
Fist of the North Star is in America, you wouldn't know. In Japan, it has the like a dragon in the title. It is a game.
Okay, so it's officially
part of Yakuza, but it's a Fist of the North Star game.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
No, I get it.
Because the way you made it sound like you just talked about Fist of the North Star halfway through this.
I'm trying not to spend too long on the spin-off, but it's
I know. That one I felt like needed attention.
It's a parody of Fist of the North Star as Yakuza, because the joke is every one of the characters from Yakuza is playing a Fist of the North Star character.
He's also a little
Then you can
butthurt.
continue. No, that one I actually was confused on. I thought he just mentioned
Fist
of the
was
North Star halfway through.
They did an actual real game of Fist of the North Star. That's a Yakuza game. It plays.
Right.
It used the same
To
gameplay
continue it, just because I'm personally curious, was that the one where bartending's a thing?
Yep.
Okay.
Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is also referred to as Yakuza 7, because in Japan it's just basically Like a Dragon 7. that introduced the new character, and this starts our new series. And then Lost Judgment, a sequel to Judgment, which are canon spin-offs. And then just recently, Like a Dragon Ishin, which is a remake of Yakuza Ishin, which we never got. It's a samurai version of Yakuza.
Yeah, Samurai Yakuza.
Which is the second one, to not confuse people, because they had Kenzan, which came before that we still don't have. Later this year, we're supposed to get another spin-off, which I'm not going to mention just because it's weird. And then next year, we're supposed to get 8, which is the next mainline continuation.
All right.
I
Awesome.
finished. The only thing I probably should mention, if you're looking for character action games, Yakuza Like a Dragon or Yakuza 7.
Now,
that's
before
just an
you say
RPG.
anything, because I know what you're going to say next, look how much faster it went because we didn't interrupt you.
No, you should have interrupted me because I would have moved on because I spent too long doing that and I didn't want to.
I mean, you may have not wanted to, but those games are also easy enough to understand where there's not retcons.
Yeah, but I also decided to only cover 2 sentences of the plot, and these games have way more plot than God of War.
My trail plan was beginning confusing part that constantly gets retconned, then trailblaze through the rest of the games because they're all leading to the exact same point.
You still went way too far into detail.
Because retcons.
Yeah,
If I didn't have to go for
that's not a
retcons,
valid one.
it's a really
Mark
valid
Hamill's
one.
in this. Shut up.
Mark Hamill's in Darksiders. Eat
I
my
know.
dick.
I just did that because I knew it shut you up.
Dark Side. Eat my
Yeah,
dick.
real quick. All of these are character action games, with the exception of the weird spin-off Dead Souls. That's a third-person horror shooter, and Like a Dragon, Yakuza Like a Dragon.
I'm still going to
which is an
personally
RPG.
count it because of its lineage and probably how Cousin plays.
It's closer to like Resident Evil 4.
I'm counting it. I don't care if it's a shooter, depending on how it plays.
It doesn't play like an action game. There's no melee combat whatsoever. You can't punch a guy, despite the fact these games are based on punch a guy. It's zombies.
I'm gonna gray line it.
It's zombies.
It's on gray line.
And Yakuza Like a Dragon is just a straight up RPG. There is no action. You've played that one.
Yeah, I like it. It has really funny.
It's good. 8,
It's awesome.
8, its sequel is also going to be an RPG. I didn't mention any of the spin-offs that didn't get released in America. I did cover all the spin-offs.
Yeah, are they important?
Not really.
And there you go.
In the shortest, there was Kenzan and Ishin, which we eventually got the remake of Ishin.
No, better yet, do they add to the story in any way?
The 2 PSP ones do. We never got them.
Then there you go. Just mention those quick.
There's 2 PSP games that take place during the main line of Yakuza and are set in Kamurocho, but you play as a side minor character that's only in those PS2 games. He's not in the main games.
All right.
So his plot is self-contained, but it is canon.
It's
it does
parallel.
happen. Yeah, it's like the Judgment games. The only other ones I didn't mention at this
Or
point...
another one that could be mentioned is the Digimon games, Cyber Sleuth
Yes.
and Hacker's Memory.
Yes.
Yep.
Dream.
No, you're correct.
Oh, I was right?
Hacker's
Damn.
Memory's right.
Rare that I'm right.
The only other one I didn't mention at this point was they had Yakuza Online, which is just a weird mobile game.
It's not important.
Yeah, and then they had a joke game called Streets of Kamurocho.
Yeah,
It's
because
the opening level
I personally,
of
when I was
Streets
going
of
to go over
Rage.
Ascension, I wasn't even going to bother mentioning the online because it has no actual canon additive.
This is a whole phone game though, and that's why I was like, I don't want to mention
I
it. So
I didn't mention the phone games for
that's fair.
God of War because they're other trash.
That's fair. So that's pretty much it. Unless you guys have anything else to mention, if not, we can close out.
I mean, part of me wants to mention my opinion of Doom, but I feel like all my rage was taken out on being constantly interrupted about the God of War thing.
Basically, to anyone that doesn't understand, the joke is Harlan's was debating that Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal.
My quick points: has a proficient amount of melee, has a badass character, and does badass things constantly. He may not say a lot of things, but in fact, that's what leads him to be having some of the best one-liners, or just hearing them at the very least. Because you hear other characters say it, he just shuts up the entire time and doesn't say a single thing.
But it doesn't change that it's still a...
Just because it's-
I have access to 3 different melee weapons in
But-
or specifically Doom Eternal. I'm counting Doom Eternal when it comes to this. Specifically in Doom Eternal.
Okay, so not 16, just Eternal? Or 16 and Eternal?
I mean, I'm counting mostly Eternal.
Because you can't convince me on anything before 16.
No, I'm not going to try and convince you on anything before 16.
Okay.
16, sure, a little bit.
All right.
Doom Eternal, I have access to 3 melee weapons.
So the thing is, it's still a first-person shooter.
I'm still fine with this.
It's not a character
doesn't-
action game.
It counts enough for me.
All right, we're gonna,
because they have a badass character doesn't make it a first person.
that's fact. Just because it doesn't have just because it has a badass character doesn't make it a first person shooter. I agree.
You're right.
That is what you said.
I agree with Michael. Anyway, this has been
Well,
round one.
that's basically
fight.
what he's saying.
Well, he's saying it doesn't
it has a badass character.
Michael,
so
did you-
therefore
Mike-
first person shooter. Well,
character action.
That's what we're
Character
saying.
That we're commenting on the fact you said shooter instead of character action.
So we're gonna close out, but real fast, just because you almost said God Eater, and this made me think of it.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I just ran out of breath on God of War.
You almost. I thought you were gonna say God.
You said
Eater.
God.
No,
You said God. And I thought you were gonna say Eater, and then you stopped yourself. So I thought you fucked up.
no, I just ran out of breath halfway through.
We're not gonna cover them here, but
No,
all
'cause
of the Monster Hunters.
I actually wanted to talk about that in a separate episode of online multiplayers.
We should
like that specifically that
shorten it.
genre.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, the Monster Hunters, the God Eaters. Those are the only big franchise. There are a few other smaller ones around.
There's
Those are
whatever. What the one starts with a T?
Tokuden Kiwami.
Yes, Tokuden.
And Final Fantasy Explorers is another one I could name off.
I'm not talking about that one because I don't like Final Fantasy.
It had a cool concept. It's just Monster Hunter, but instead you get to fight Final Fantasy monsters and some of their gods. Either way, it sucked. Moving on. Those are
I'll even talk about Wild Hearts when that
kind of
comes.
considered character action games and
Wild
kind
Hearts
of
is
not.
great.
So those are up there as well, but we're not going to really spend time talking about those because those are we could do a whole episode.
Those could be
on
another
those.
episode, which is even better, especially with the origin of Monster Hunter, how that even came to be.
So
That's
we're
an
gonna-
interesting-
that's an interesting.
We're gonna
that's an
close.
interesting story.
We're gonna close out here, but what are we doing next episode?
I mean,
Do we have any ideas?
We can leave it a surprise, or we can talk about the not character action, the multiplayer games that you can play, like Monster Hunter, God
Eater.
God Eater. Thank you.
Do we want to go into that?
God Eater.
Do we want to go into that?
I wouldn't mind because we could also dig up some good ones,
So,
like that we
Good.
just personally don't know about.
Real quick, let me get a name. What is the technical?
I don't know. That's the question. Is that I don't know.
What's the technical term for these called?
But either way, we can.
Monster Hunter is a Japanese media franchise centered on a series of fantasy-themed action role-playing video games that started with the game Monster Hunter on the PS2. That doesn't help.
I'll just call him Monster Hunter.
We're talking about Monster Hunter and Monster Hunter-like games is what we're going to say.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
Because ever since World, that game has launched into a lot of like good recognition.
Whoa, stop.
No, good recognition.
No, not that. They made an animated film
Yes.
for Monster Hunter. When the fuck did that
I
happen?
think it was Monster Hunter Stories. They had an animated thing for
It's
it.
called Monster Hunter: Legend of Guilds, and it looks awful.
Yeah,
Yes,
no,
it's
that happened
the
like 2
Netflix
years
one.
ago.
I do know that
It's bad.
Monster Hunter Stories has anime, and mangas.
Yeah.
So while we're at it, we're not going to cover. We're not going to cover the
One of
Monster.
them isn't bad. They just didn't get continued.
We're not going to cover the Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunter Orang or something like that.
Yeah, I have it see here.
It's not the
Orog.
worst. It's a good concept. It only had like
So-
1 or 2 books.
Yeah, we're going to cover those next episode, and we're not going to cover Monster Hunter spin-offs. We're just focused on just that type of gameplay, that the main line.
Yeah,
and
when he
some other
says
ones.
spin-offs, he means we're
We're
not
not
going to
covering
talk about
stories.
stories.
Covering stories.
We are going to talk
We're
about
not
Monster
covering-
Hunter like games.
We're not covering Ride On. We're not covering Monster Hunter Diary.
No,
Exactly. We're not covering any of those, and we're not going to cover like the manga or the animated movie or anything.
there are big hitters. Will probably be God Eater and Monster Hunter.
Those
but
are
we'll
the
have
big ones.
We'll make sure
we'll
to add a
have some
few in
others.
there. Like we mentioned, Tokuden.
Tokuden,
There's at
Kiwami.
least
Yeah.
more out there. Wild Hearts just came out. That's a really good one to talk about. I've played it.
All right, so we're going to close out here.
Yes.
Who you want
I'll
to
do it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yours
I'll
is
do
the
it.
outro.
This has been Round 1 Fight. You can find us on... Right now we have Twitter. We have... YouTube, obviously, if you're listening to us here. We're trying to set it up on other platforms. I feel like we have one other thing. I think we have an Instagram that we don't use.
We might. I think we do. We're going to start getting on some other stuff soon.
Yeah, we just don't have effort to put into it because we don't have enough people yet. Or if we do, they don't want to show their face. I wouldn't with us either yet.
Like, comment, subscribe,
that's
share us around the internet.
Yeah.
Usual,
Share us to your friends.
usual YouTube plug.
Share us to your dog.
All right,
Share us to your dog if you're lonely.
all right, we're closing out.
Not the cat, though.
Not the cat.